Interesting turn of events, ladies and gentlemen. We had a bit of a flash crash last night, didn't we? And I'm really in two minds about this. Do we focus at the topic at hand? Or let's just focus on what's actually going on. Bitcoin takes a little bit of a tumble down to the 63K zone. Someone called it clickbait yesterday. Well, no, not really. It was giving you a little bit of a warning about things, how this could be a time to load up on Bitcoin. But let's park that aside, ladies and gentlemen. Only a year ago, we made a little projection. Bitcoin to 8K. Yeah. It hit 8K. Well, actually, no. It actually took out 8.9K. And that was the flash crash. Now, I did say Bitcoin will go to 8K. And if you go watch the video, I just said that it's going to go back to the vectors. And it did go back down to the vector. And of course, it went on an exchange, which Bitmex, which is notorious for this sort of behavior. But I'm going to try and do my very hardest to make sure that I'm going to be humble with victory. Yes, I'm going to be humble with victory. All the comments saying 8K will never happen, and all of the negativity that has grown about this projection. Yeah, I could be really polite about it. I could be really rude, but no. Bitcoin went to 8.9K. Of all places, it went to 8.9K. Today's live stream is going to explain what has actually happened in this flash crash on Bitmex. Now, this is why it's so important that you pick an exchange that does give you liquidity. It's very important, like the heavyweights, MEXC, Binance, Crypto.com, okay, Bybit, all of those big exchanges. You'd probably not get these sort of behaviors on those exchanges. And if they did, it would be resolved within a matter of seconds. But Bitcoin was at 8.9K for 3 whole minutes before it actually made the reversal. So all the guys in the chart, or the chat that was saying, Tino, my order at 8K, I'm still waiting, bro, ha ha. Well, if you were on Bitmex, you might have been able to exploit it. Let's be frank. Let's be frank. Could you have caught this? Well, no. Unless you were on Bitmex. 8K, man. You actually did it. Woohoo! Vector candle recovery, ladies and gentlemen. Vector candle recovery has been done and dusted. And, you know, I was thinking, like, even though Bitcoin's price is not at 8K, and Binance hasn't shown it, or the main exchanges, but Bitcoin did hit 8K. So a year later, cool. Now we're done with that projection. We're going to now work on a new projection, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new to the channel, welcome to Traders Reality. What's Bitcoin going to get doing today? We've got FOMC coming up tomorrow. Again, make sure you subscribe because it is one of the biggest live streams that we do on the Traders Reality channel. So make sure you're hitting the bell because I will be live roughly around 30 to 35 minutes before the actual FOMC meeting itself, just to get enough people to come in, sit back, relax, chill out. Bitcoin went to 8.9K. Sorry, I'm going to be doing that quite a lot. Just in case the guys who've been commenting all that negativity just happen to forget that it went to 8.9K. Just to put things into perspective, it's right there, 8.9K on Bitmex. So $55 million worth of orders, sell orders, were triggered to bring the price back down. Now, this is on the spot market, and this is very important to understand. Who's getting liquidated there? On the spot market, well, no one really. No one's getting liquidated on the spot market. It's just a case of whatever value it is that you're buying Bitcoin from. And if it sits at 8.9K, then your value of Bitcoin you've purchased is worth 8.9K. But we know that futures markets dictate, in principle, the mood and the sentiment of Bitcoin in the spot market. That's why you will always see futures volumes more than the spot market. And that's going to be something that happens continuously as long as there is leverage available for people. So although on Bitmex, the spot market experienced this drop to the downside, you can appreciate that if there were any leverage traders over there, they would have been liquidated because the liquidity is down below. All the guys that were like, yeah, man, Bitcoin ain't ever going to 10K, ain't ever going to 20K. Well, they had that experience, which is a sad story. They can only do that if there is liquidity below. Now, it's a sell order of 55 million. That is nothing. Sorry, $55 million sell order on an exchange for Bitcoin is tuppence. You only have to go over to this right here and see that just in this area here was $23 million at 65K. Okay, again, make sure you are picking an exchange where you are going to have liquidity. Not having liquidity, even if they do try and endorse the idea of low fees or high leverage. I mean, best in the game right now is MEXC with their low trading fees, okay? So that's a place to start. Well, Binance, I know Binance can be a bit expensive, so can Bybit, but each company has its benefit, okay? But always aim for liquid exchanges, all right? Now, with that being said, let's just roll over to our dearly beloved Bitcoin. Here we go, down 6.3%. Not bad. Let's just have a look at it on Bitmex. Like, I want to find that. I want to find it. Where is it? Bitcoin. Let's just go over to that and find that wick. I really need to see that wick. Where are you? This is painful. I can't stand this. Bitmex. Come on. Where are you? Oh, God. It's not even here. Bitfinex. Is it anywhere else? Nope. Don't understand. Here we go. Now, it's not. Oh, it's perpetuals. Oh, God. XBTU, USD. Bitmex, here we go. No, it's not on this one. Oh my God, what am I doing, Tina? I really want to find this. Here we go. I'm hoping it's that. There she is. Wow. Not bad, eh? Let's just go and have a look at something. Let's see if it is present in the chart. I mean, oh, that's the data right there. But that is where logic would say that the vector candle would have been recovered, in principle, if it was on the Binance chart. Ah, sad days. Could you imagine the recovery of the wick? Oh, my days. The recovery of the wick. Don't ever say they can't ever do it, ladies and gentlemen. That's facts right there. Don't ever say that they can never do something, because they can. And that's the truth. Jokes aside, guys. Yeah, okay, happy days, projection complete and all that stuff. Fine. I'm cool with that 8.9K. But the reality is that don't ever think that it can't ever happen. Because it can. You're trading in the realm of uncertainty. Which leads me on to what's going on tomorrow. We've got FOMC coming out tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be a very, very tricky time to be trading. Lots of hype, lots of anticipation coming out with regards to what the Federal Reserve is going to be doing. Are we going to be holding rates? Are we going to be cutting? I mean, the Bank of Japan, in principle, have held. They're not really doing anything. Well, they're going to increase, from negative to increase that, which only means what? Remember what we said last night. When the dollar, or should I say when the yen goes down, that means the dollar is going up. Yen is down. Dollar is up. Okay? Happy days. Dollar's making its move. A little bit of a retrace is on the cards, of course, but it goes without saying, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going into a big move right now. Dollar yen itself has actually made the move up. Now, this is important for you guys because you're going to need to understand the relationship of the dollar. Because what you buy Bitcoin with, you don't buy it with XRP. You don't buy it with silver. You buy it with US dollars. That's the common practice. And understanding what that native currency is doing, that's the dollar, this is going to help you understand when is it now the right time to get in or not. Right now, the value of the dollar is increasing. Look at dollar yen. It's going to 150. And this is a problem for the Japanese yen. Okay? But they're going to be waiting because in Forex, they work on the idea of value. How many euros can I get on the back of a strong dollar? How many pound sterling can I pick up on the back of a strong dollar? How many euros can I get on the back of a weak dollar? How many dollars can I get on the back of a strong yen? Like, that's how this game works. It's not so much patterns and structures. There is an underlying process behind Forex where all these hedge funds are playing the game of swaps, okay? Now, not so long ago, the London interbank offer rate had been changed. I believe it was removed, or they stopped it, where there was a certain rate that banks would be borrowing money from. And that's all they're working on, okay? They're working on that swap. How many euros can I leave right now at the current price point and exchange those later on for more dollars? That's what you got to be thinking about. And that is exactly, in my opinion, what Bitcoin could be getting ready for. But you see, the problem is with fiat, the euro, the pound, the dollar, there is literally an infinite supply. They're always printing this thing called paper. Bitcoin cannot be printed, okay? You can mine it only up into the sum of 21 million coins, and then that's it. Dustbin, dada, ciao, ciao. The end. Okay? In other news, Fidelity amends spot Ethereum ETF proposal to include staking. Now, this is exactly what I wanted to find out. The price of Lido jumped briefly after an update spot ETF application from Fidelity, which proposed to stake a portion of the fund's ETH to generate additional income. Well, why did Lido pump? Does anybody know? Well, let me tell you. Lido currently has the largest amount of ETH, around 37% of the supply in principle. Coinbase comes second at 17%. And now that they're incorporating the idea of it to be a portion of it staked, that's happy days for LDO. We go over to LDO right now. Let's have a look at DeFi Llama over here. We can see the price of it. Where is it? Come on. Like, something's going off with my computer, man. I really want to put this thing in the bin. There we go. Liquid staking, Lido. Jumped up. There we go. It's climbing up right. No. Market cap. Where's my chart? Where's my chart? Oh, God. I'll get over to it. Yeah, let's just put it up on here. Well, it didn't really jump, but it did jump on the idea of it. But anyway, I'm guessing that was it over there. It pumped and then come back down again. Never mind. But the idea is that that's good news for them, okay? Now, going into the actual article itself, you can see the amendments, happy days, this is all good. Ethereum, in principle, should be looking to mark up from it, okay, as a benefit from this. But we need to understand something that is happening right now with Bitcoin. Zoom out. There is one more zone that Bitcoin, in principle, must be holding. Otherwise, we're going to go for a flush move to the downside. In front of you, you can see this area here where $38 million. I mean, look at this, man. The initial order was 6 million. It then came in at 38 million. People rushed in for a Bitcoin discount, okay? They saw the result of that leading to a move up. Next area of liquidity came in at 7.6 million, and it showed $52 million came into play. What does that tell you? That there are people waiting for the right price point, which they believe is a good discount for Bitcoin, okay? And you can see right there that this takes us to around the 60K mark. If 60K breaks, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be going to certain sub-zero levels, maybe not 8.9K, but we're going to be going to levels which the bid book right here is suggesting. You've got right now, close by, at 62,000, you've got 1 million Bitcoin bids. That's nothing to be worried about. 1.17 Bitcoin bids at 58K. You got this bid down here, $26 million worth of bids at 53,800. Beyond that, you've got a bid down here at 25 million bids with 51,400. I'm not fussed about that. I'm fussed about the idea that if price is going to start marking into these points, then we're going to get the interest similar to what we had over here when you had $38 million worth of bids placed at an order that was originally 6.4 million. Okay, this is how you can gauge the commitment of the bids of Bitcoin, because ultimately they can only market lower if there is someone prepared to buy it from the person that is looking to sell it in the wrong direction. Retail sales to the downside, because that's what you do with something of value. All right, you buy something of value and say, you know what, I'm going to sell it as it's going down. Now, you may have heard me talk about this before. That could be something that market makers employ, which is a negative gamma strategy, which means that back then, well, before Ethereum hit the 3,000 mark, there were a ton of short orders opened on Ethereum, and market makers had opened effectively those shorts. But because of what was going on in the space of crypto and everything was pumping, the market maker needed to protect himself. That means he needed to try and maintain delta neutral, which means that he had to buy Ethereum on spot. Even though he was short, he had to buy Ethereum on spot and sell it as it was going up. Well, sell it as it was coming down after it was marking up. Okay? So that's where negative gamma comes into play. Now, I don't want to bore you with all of that, but that's a market-making strategy that they do employ. So when you see things just going up and up and up, and everyone's asking, when does the market maker make his money on the shorts to the downside, you've got to think that he could be picking it up on spot as well to hedge himself. Okay? Right now, it looks like they're going to start rolling everything over, and this one significant area on Bitcoin that got cleared last night at $11 million worth of Bitcoin orders matched with around 12.6, so they only increased by 6%. We're probably getting the first wave of bids in this area. That doesn't mean Bitcoin is just going to simply take a shoe bag to the downside. It means that we could initially see a reversal from this point, because they've just hit the waves to the downside. Look, they've been bidding here, they've been bidding here, and they were bidding here, and then they made an initial reaction to see price moving up from there. And now we've come back down to what appears to be a sweep lower after they triggered some more interest from these guys over here. So the market's going to be principally saying, okay, looks like we're going to try and transact on the guys who are placing the offers higher up. So let's go and have a look at those offers. Here we go. So what we got, 11 million being sold at 65,120. Go above that, you've got 1.25, and then you've got 8 million at 65,800, and then you've got a million there, and then you go up here, you've got another million, boring, 13.9 right there at 66,000. So the logic would be that if Bitcoin is going to reverse from here, now would be a good time for it to do that, okay? Keep on getting disturbed in my lives, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I haven't actually addressed the chat. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good afternoon. What's cracking, people? 55K by Wednesday. Facts. Facts. 55K. All right, then. Okay. Here we go. Tino, is it safe to say that the higher time frame structure is broken? It's not broken until it's broken. What does this show you? What did we say last night? If today's daily candle last night, if the daily candle closes below the 5 and 13 EMA, we have a problem. That's what it did. It closed below it. That led to this. Now, last night we anticipated a little bit of a movement up. Didn't get it. Only very marginally. It's taken the sweep to the downside. Our 20%ers, where are they? This is your first 20%. So you can open this with confidence. DCA 20% on the idea that Bitcoin is going to keep on soaring, but we need to buy more of it, don't we? I ain't buying it as it's rising. What bird brain does that? Retail. And I hope that everyone inside of this live stream in this chat, all 2,107 of you, are of the understanding that when something is rising, it's because it is seller dominated. Please, if you do not understand that, please type 1 if you are new to this live stream. Hit the like button, subscribe, and you'll understand as we go through each of these lives why, when prices are rising, it's seller dominated. When prices are dropping, it's buyer dominated. Ain't no one that I would give money to manage will be going out buying assets as they are rising. Because I'm going to turn to him and say, bro, man, how much are you paying for this? Oh, I bought it at 51,000, and then I bought it again at 52,000, and then bought it again at 53. But bro, it's been going up for a while now. Like, don't you think it's going to start pulling back? Nah, man, that's what happens, bro. And then all of a sudden it goes down. I'm like, hold on a second. Why? You said it was going up. Well, you know, it's just the market. It turns. I wouldn't question someone that was buying, okay, as price is going down. There's your buying opportunity. For the bigger picture. The bigger picture. If you're leveraged traders and you're like, oh, he said buy it, man, it's a 20% zone right now. Oh, I'm going long and Bitcoin slumps from here. Then you look at me and you say, well, he said to buy it. Well, I'm not saying to buy it. I'm saying this is a point where you can distribute the 20% of your capital based on the 420 method. If you are new to the 420 method, the 420 method is a principle on distributing your capital that you choose to invest in Bitcoin. And it's whether it's 10K, 50K, 100K, a million, and put in 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, and then you're left with 40%, okay? The 40% is something that you use just in case there is a freak event, like Bitcoin going to 8.9K. Sorry, I had to say it, man. You know, I've been getting too much for that. So it's my turn now, you know. He who laughs first, or is it he who laughs last? I ain't laughing. I'm not laughing. I'm laughing. I am laughing. Never mind. But hey, the 420 method protects you and keeps you away from being emotional. All right? If you've got 10 grand, you use the 320%, 246. That's 6 grand of your portfolio that you distribute into Bitcoin on the principle of dollar cost averaging. This is the first zone. If Bitcoin is going to correct down to the 50 EMA, well, we know a thing about vector candle recoveries. It's the only next logical spot on the higher time frame. Because if you are so desperate for Bitcoin to go and take a move to the upside, you better be wanting Bitcoin to drop. This will be the first test of the 50 EMA since this ETF madness, okay? Right here was the ETF madness. And then they went to the yippee-ki-yay to the upside. They are, in principle, breaking this red vector block zone. Now, granted, we're expecting a little bit of a reversal today by Bitcoin. That goes without saying. But this is for the daily. This is for the holders. The guys who are there thinking, should I buy it now? Should I not? Don't confuse 3 hours of upwards price action to dictate what you're going to be doing over the next 2-3 weeks. Don't do that, okay? Let them do their flavor today, all right? Here we go. Stock market is now fully open. Got some interesting behavior happening across the board with the S&P and the NASDAQ. Let's just go and have a look at that bad boy. Let me just go over to S&P, NASDAQ. Well, that's the daily right there. Starting to work its way up ever so slightly. Yeah, we got a nice little reversal coming into play. We've got some imbalances on the NASDAQ that we really want to be taking into consideration. Go back into Bitcoin. Here we go. So let's just start getting into some lower time frames on Bitcoin to understand where we are. 15-minute time frame, Bitcoin trading sideways. Okay, then. So after this flush to the downside, short term would then suggest that there could be some momentum to start marking Bitcoin upwards. Might take a little while, but fundamentally, after a flush to the downside, we're starting to see, we're starting to see the vector candles coming into play. Vector candles on the higher time frames, on the lower time frames, and all the other time frames, they all have their place. If you're looking at a vector candle on the monthly time frame, you're chilling because it's going to take a little while for that to come into play. You're looking at it on the 1 minute time frame, there's a good chance that they're going to recover that vector candle, okay? So always take that into consideration, ladies and gentlemen, all right? Let me just sort out this business over here. Happy days. Okay, then. We're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. Yes, we are good. Happy days. Okay, then, cool. Now, going into Solana. Now, Solana, well, Solana's hit our projection near enough for today. Happy days. Wow. She did that pretty quick. Awesome. Taking profits. I hope you guys on Platinum have taken profits on Solana. Did Ethereum do it? Ethereum near enough did it. Near enough. Happy days. So that only means what? Bitcoin is next, in principle, okay? Go into the smaller time frames, 5-minute chart. You look at it, Bitcoin consolidating. when you see consolidation like this, this is the criteria. Look, green vector candle, green vector candle. Now we're getting clues about the range. Always factor in the potential for a sweep to the downside. Always. Because they might just go down before they come up. Okay? That's what you're waiting for inside of this range. You have to wait. I'm sorry, you have to wait for it. Because if you don't wait for it, you're going to be the guy that's going long in a little range like that and then end up paying the price. Now, why do we need to wait? Well, we need to understand where we are in relation to Bitcoin and its VWAP. Let's just move this a little bit. Where is our Bitcoin VWAP? Should be all the way down here. Oh, no, up there. There we go. So 64,600 is the next logical spot for Bitcoin to effectively go and attack, all right, by the principle of the VWAP. Now, the volume-weighted average price is, of course, the logic that institutional investors will be selling, well, should be buying below the VWAP. And then as price is going back up, they're getting a good average back up towards the VWAP, where you would naturally assume that if the tone is going to maintain itself, they're going to sell from that point again and then start buying again as it's marking lower, okay? So it's very important that we focus on the VWAP and pay attention to it, okay? Now, with that being said, we just quickly go over and have a look at smaller time frame price action. Right now, we are in what is called the Brinks box. And those of you that are completely new to the hybrid system, if you haven't done so already, take some time to go and take this free course on the Traders Reality website, okay? Got the free course right here. Costs you an hour and 10 minutes, all right? And it just gives you a breakdown of all of the concepts that we talk about within the hybrid system. You've got to become a bronze member to utilize it. Takes you an hour to understand the concept. You've got PDFs, you name it, on vector candles. So this will nip in the bud the conversation that you might be having with yourself about what is a vector candle, what is its purpose, how to find it, where to find it, okay? So go and take that course, man, all right? Now, with that being said, looking at the way Bitcoin is forming a structure here, you can see that we've got green vector candle zone 1, green vector candle zone 2. Now, I believe Bitcoin's probably going to take a little while before it starts to make a bit of a reversal, but looking at where we are in the stock market and, of course, with anticipation of what's going on tomorrow, the market might be trading sideways. That's the truth. We expect volatility to come into play for Bitcoin to mark up, okay? However, if they're going to be preparing price for FOMC, then they may even keep Bitcoin inside this range and just go sideways, which could be pretty boring. But nonetheless, we'll get more information about the behavior when we get into FOMC, okay? All right, let's just go into this. Let me just have a look here. Let me just close this off right now. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Noreen, she's all good, man. 8K hit after 1 year. I know. What a crazy thing. Killing it with oil, yeah? Let's have a look. Let's go into oil. Oh, no, that's gold. Oil. Oh, my days. Oil. I told you all last night. If oil keeps on climbing up, stock market's going to have a bit of a hard time, okay? Investors are going to commodities like oil. They do it every time there is something wrong in the game of finance. They will always go to it without fail. Now, questions. You slept good. Bitcoin hit 8K, done and dusted. Yeah, well, there we go. I mean, look, I am going live for FOMC. So again, if you guys are new, make sure you are subscribing to the channel so you do not miss out on that. And if you are new, take advantage of 20% off the Platinum membership. Discount code is called Bull Run. Bull Run. Use it in the checkout and you get 20% off your first month. Everything's in the description of this live stream and, of course, pinned to the top of the chat. It's all on tradersreality.com. Okay? So go check that out. What else? Nothing brings NVIDIA down. Let's actually go and have a look at NVIDIA as a market cap stock. That is huge. It's very important to pay attention to it. Ooh, gap down on the NVIDIA. Very interesting. But I think they're going to be holding out across the board. I genuinely believe that. They're going to be holding out for FOMC, quite frankly. Okay, back into Bitcoin. Let's have a look. Seems to be holding out here. Question. Where is it? I couldn't find it. What time is FOMC? It's 6 p.m. 6 p.m. UK time. What's your opinion on holding spot versus leverage on 2x or 5x? Look, anyone that's on spot would pay to actually focus on what the leveraged market is doing, because the leverage volume will always surpass spot volume. Always. Just look at it. Futures, 84, 74 futures, 316 futures. And then we go to spot, 21, 28, 36. All right. So you're always going to have more volume on the futures markets than you are going to have on the spot market. I mean, look, here we go. We got liquidations at 75K. All right. So, you know, and just even if you go to the tone of the actual liquidations themselves. All right. Let's just check this out here. You've got 75, well, just before 75,000, so 74,200, you got $1.7 billion worth of short liquidations. Then you got this cluster inside of here around the 70K mark, where there's roughly around 5-6 billion, even nearly $10 billion worth of short liquidations inside of that range. And then we go over to Bitcoin and have a look. I mean, 70,000 is not too far away, ladies and gentlemen. It's within Bitcoin's average daily range. Well, what do we mean by that? Well, quite simply, the average daily range that Bitcoin can travel to the upside or to the downside based on the sum of the last 14 days would say that if Bitcoin were to go and take its average daily range for today from the daily open, okay, that means it can travel all the way up towards this spot. That would mean those liquidation points at 70K would be chow chow. They'd be in the bin. But do not get it twisted. Bitcoin can, from its current price point, reverse and hit its liquidations. It really can do that. I've seen that happen many a times in Forex. Euro will have an average daily range of around 63 pips. Well, it drops down below the daily open, hits its low ADR, and then shoots all the way back up to hit its high ADR. Principally, it's done 126 pip move from high to low, but it's pretty much stayed in the same range. Okay. So that's something you want to take into consideration. Now, Bitcoin has hit its low ADR. So the average price of Bitcoin, or the range that Bitcoin will travel over a period of the last 14 days, it's at its lowest point. Hypothetically, it's at its lowest point for the day. We're sat at the range weekly low. We're sat at the range daily low. Could this be the low for the week for Bitcoin? This is what we're trying to establish, okay? As long as the stock, I mean, look at that. NASDAQ is just taking a shoe bag to the downside. Absolutely divine. Brilliant. You know? They just ain't stopping with that. They are not stopping with the NASDAQ and the S&P. But then again, it's not doing too bad, to be fair. So I'm cool with that. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Tina, linear or logarithmic scale? You always ask me this. Linear. Michael Saylor has an average Bitcoin cost of 35K. He's doing fine. Of course he's doing fine. I shorted the high on NASDAQ yesterday. Now I'm up $3,000 on my funded trading challenge. Congratulations. Take some money. What is a pip? A pip is the smallest change in price, okay? So percentage in points. So Bitcoin's percentage in points. See that 0, 0, and it goes to 0, 1? That's the change, the smallest change in price, okay? If the pip says that Bitcoin's got a 430,000 pip change, that means take into consideration numbers after the decimal, all right? So that changes to the sum of 430,000, goes up. Happy days, okay? No trading for me. No trading for me. I am not taking any trades during this madness on the S&P. Took some this morning. Did a light position, but nothing interesting. I don't want to trade. Anytime we get close towards the FOMC, the markets just turn stupid. They are just demonstrating inconsistencies, all right? I'd rather wait until FOMC comes out, because once they deliver the vector candles on the FOMC, whatever happens in the Asian session, Asia will react to it. They'll either recover. If it's good news and the S&P drops first, Asia will recover it. If it's bad news and it drops, Asia will continue to drop it. Okay? So it's one of those ones. Tino, what can you say about the buy orders on Bookmap on Binance around 51K to 56? Fake orders? Well, I wouldn't say they're fake orders because right now you've got orders stacked at 62. All right. And the bids are coming into play. Remember what I said? If we're going to expect Bitcoin to start moving back up, allow them to do a sweep down first. Okay. You've got all these orders here at 58,000, 59. There's probably more orders down below, but I really only want to focus on orders that are close by based on the volume profile. Because you can see the session volume profile, we are at the lowest point of the session right there on the right side. So we're at the lowest point. So this is where the idea of value is coming into play, okay? Usually when price is sat at the lows of the value area low and there's still some more liquidity there, it's consistent with them going in to sweep that liquidity to trap traders into the idea it's now going down and then make the reversal back up. That would then be consistent with what you're witnessing here on the offers, on the bid, sorry. You can see bid side at 62,000, there's 734 Bitcoin orders and 615 Bitcoin orders. So that's quite a healthy sum of Bitcoin at the 62,000 zone. We go and take that logic and we go into the order flow right here. Can't really see it. We got 400 there at 62.80 and we got 61.50, 500, 20 Bitcoin, 200. So we're going down. It's there or thereabouts. But remember, this Coinank doesn't really update it in real time like the Bookmap. If I had to pick the two, it would always be the Bookmap because I can see the orders being placed and I can see the orders being cancelled. And I can get information from that by understanding that here, this block order right here was placed and then it was cancelled. But that tells me that someone right there has an algorithm or is looking to get a bid on Bitcoin, but he doesn't want to keep his money committed in the chart. There's 727 Bitcoin right there and 612 just below. Okay, so just shy of 1,300 Bitcoin orders. That's a lot of cheese right there in that range just to be sat in the book doing nothing. So whatever and whoever is got that amount of liquidity down there, they're going to be monitoring price. They're going to keep it in the chart as long as Bitcoin keeps on marking lower because then they're going to be able to get a good fill at 62. The second Bitcoin starts to reverse from there, that order will effectively get pulled until they say, right, I do believe that where I thought 62,000 was a good point of value, I'm going to assume that this next area could be a good area of value. That could be 64,000, that could be 65, that could be 66. But when you look at what happened over here on the left side, this is where they had previously reversed from. So the guy down here is thinking, all right then, maybe if they try and gun for that area and sweep that liquidity, I can be a part of that and get my bids, buy Bitcoin at that point and assume that the same logic that happened here as a reversal point will be exactly the same thing right here, okay? That's why you've got to see it, but you're effectively working with so much information, but if you can make sense of it from a psychological perspective, who would be buying there? Who would be buying? Well, I'm not interested in who's selling down there because there ain't no one that will sell when price is dropping. They sell it with the value of it going up. Now, that doesn't mean that people ain't selling at 62,000, okay? You might have Bitcoin from 5K and you want to sell it at 62K. All right, you sell it at 62, which is why you will always have people buying and selling inside of these ranges. Look, this candlestick right here, okay? You can see that there was a wick. As they wicked it down, they came back up and they triggered some offers at 64,266, okay? They may have bidded out 64,550, comes down, they bid it out again at 12, like 64, and then they went up and sold at 64,266, or they sold up here at 64,700, all right? Look at the amount of Bitcoin and the order itself. They're making easy 50, 60 grand on that quick scalp, okay? And that's what you'll be witnessing here. Excuse me. Remember the days of the green jumper? Yes, I remember the green jumper, ladies and gentlemen. Any other questions? How are you utilizing candles after a vector on the PVS or a sweep? What do you mean? How am I utilizing the candles? I don't understand what you mean. So price logically would go down to fill those bids. No, Dane, that's the logic. That's the logic. Okay. Bitcoin, why not wait for 50K? Billions of liquidations there. Well, there probably is lots of liquidations right there, okay? But if we just go into the liquidations themselves, right? Just put this into perspective for you all. Here we go, sorry. Here we go. Should I be worried of this overextension, or if Bitcoin corrects, it could stay above the 50 point? Look, this is the question that a lot of people, there's not really that many shorts in my opinion. The way you're looking at it, in my opinion, come away from the idea of what Bitcoin can't do, because it can. It crashed to 8.9K. All right, it was on Bitmex, but principally Bitcoin hit 8.9K. Don't say it can never happen, because it did, okay? But when you look at the chart of Bitcoin on higher liquidity exchanges, the only next logical spot for you to be really concerned about Bitcoin is coming back down to the vector candles. That's the only next logical spot. Where did they do this? Oh, this is on the daily. It's on the smaller time frames that I'm making reference to with it. Go to the 4-hour chart. Where did they do it? Here we go. Pump up, come down. Pump up, come down. Pump up for a period of time, came down, recovered the majority of it before they triggered the bids again. And then they went and swept and then made the big reversal back up. Okay? You've got to say to yourself, where would someone who has already profited on Bitcoin, where would they want to step in? If it's going to hurt the bank, or it's going to hurt your position, if you see Bitcoin going all the way down to the 51,000 zone, welcome to the madness of trading. You start your DCA as price makes a high, okay? If we are in a bull run. Then you start DCA as it comes down into the range. And if we are in what appears to be a bull run, then Bitcoin will be bouncing off these zones, okay? If you are distributing your capital by the 420 method, the next spot would be inside of this range right here. After that, if you believe it could go down lower, your next spot could be down here. That's when you hold. The 20%, the 320% that you've got of your capital, so just for anyone that is new, okay, the 420 method is 20% of your capital, 20%, 20%, okay? And then you have got 40%, which is the majority of your cash, okay? Now, these 320% right here are utilized to actually load up Bitcoin as it rolls over. Go and watch the live streams over the last few days, and I explain the 420 method in detail. But the idea is that as Bitcoin drops, you commit 20%. Then it drops again 20%. Now, you don't have to commit 20%. You can commit 10%, all right? But the idea is that your working capital is 60% of the balance, all right? Where you're only risking only a certain amount, okay? Now, with that being said, if Bitcoin were to collapse into this zone right here, and then they initiate a sweep lower, this is where you incorporate the 40%. So you should be excited that Bitcoin is looking like it wants to come down, because you now have a roadmap onto how you can distribute your capital. Say you have 10 grand. And if the idea of Bitcoin going up, which is going to be going up only off the back of this ETF, when this blank screen, well, here we go. This ETF, there is consumption of it. They have to buy it first. Maybe all what we're experiencing right now is in preparation for the ETH ETF. That could be the case. Jason Casper, love the title, bro. I was 100% baited into clicking. No worries, my bro. Mad love to you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ain't with Jason, you get yourself over to Jason Casper, man. But look, it's not clickbait. It happened. Come on. It happened. We can't say it didn't, because it did. Tell me it didn't, and then I'll say, okay, it didn't happen. But it did. Anyway, we got a little headline. I'm ripping it. I'm gonna wash this. I'll tell you what I should do. I should take I've saved actually all of the 8K comments. I've saved them. And I think I should do a live stream just showcasing all the 8K comments. Nah, it's done now. Move on. Anyways. Now, are we cool with that, with the 420 method, ladies and gentlemen? Are we good with that? Do you think Doge and Shiba are a good thing long term? Money memes, since they actually have utility behind it, or do you think get out ASAP? I have 5K profit I took out, but still 4K in all you made all your money back. Okay, listen. Cryptocurrency is about you get... All right, here's the question. If you were to make life-changing money, okay, or wife-changing money in a crypto coin that you hold, all right, would you sell it? Of course you would. And that's the thing. People are waiting for that wife-changing amount before they sell. And in the end, they were wishing that they had sold and took that little profit that they had before, because it's much nicer than being in a drawdown or at a loss because they didn't sell in time. Okay? That's, you know, it's down to your preference on how much you are prepared to make, or how much you're prepared, you know, what you're prepared to experience. If you want to sit through a drawdown, sit through the drawdown, man. No one can tell you otherwise, because I can't tell you. Me and you can't relate to the idea of risk. What's risky to you might not be risky to me. You might go and spend $300 on a pair of shoes. I might look at that and think, forget that, but I don't mind having a drawdown of 10 grand. See what I mean? That's the difference. And it's so easy for someone to say, oh, you know, I've got profit. Should I take it or not? If you aren't happy with that profit, then you will never be happy with whatever profit you're given unless you hit the pinnacle of the wife-changing money. And even then, you'll shit the bed, because you'll be like, oh, my God, like, what am I going to do with all this cash? And you'll just be starstruck. But, you know, cryptocurrency is about making money. If you've made money, take it. Because the same way it goes up is the same way it goes down. That's the truth. Okay? I sold at 72K. I'm very happy. I bought at 18. Done. You can't complain about that. You got that accolade. I bought at 18, sold at 72. Bro, come on. Well done. Well done. Oh, yeah. I'm guessing. Yeah. All right, then. Tino, ETH analysis. Let's have a look at ETH. Oh, bleed. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have had a wave of movement lower, all right? Notice what's going on. It seems to be some stabilization happening. I think it's when I leave the live, that's when things will start to move, okay? But you can see that Asia's been marking price down lower. The more they drop it, the more inclined I am to believe that the Federal Reserve or the FOMC meeting could be bringing things back up. But if they keep on marking low, it's going to be a brutal drop down. We know that the bids are currently in play right now with Ethereum and Bitcoin. So just be very mindful of it. They've moved away from the psychological low. It's Tuesday. Monday, they didn't really do it, but they've done it today. Those of you that know about the psychological ranges, in principle, this is the first move away from it. And we know what that logic means. Ladies and gentlemen, again, 20% off the Platinum membership. So go check that out. Use the code BULLRUN. It's pinned to the top of the chat. On the Traders Reality website, you get 20% off your first month. But if you are new, please like, subscribe, hit the ding-a-ling. We'll be going live again later on this evening, but we'll be preparing for the FOMC tomorrow. All right? I will be live in the morning as usual anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure serving you all. To my 8Kers, ha, told ya. Peace.